And I hope this movie helps him explode even more. I think he's a movie star. And I say that not lightly or flippantly. He's a movie star because he approaches his roles with dedication, fearlessness, and passion. And that's, really what we bonded on.
So this is mixed martial arts?
We're not MMA fighters.
But we're wrestlers. The best foundation to start with.
He's pinned. He's pinned.
Hey, you here for the tryouts?
I can't fight this guy.
How are you, Elisabeth?
I'm good. Let me put my dog in the hallway. Hold on.
No, bring him on.
Go ahead.
Danny, how much time do I have?
Like 12, 13 minutes.
Sounds good. How are you, Elisabeth?
I'm good. Happy post-COVID existence, sort of. I mean, I was thinking to myself, God, there was a time when we used to do all these things in person, and we've now gotten so used to just continuing to do them on Zoom. But it's super nice to meet you virtually.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. We used to do this in person primarily, but now this is kind of the new hybrid way. I don't think it's completely going away either, so I think we'll be doing.
Convenient. I'm in my guest bedroom. I mean, it's like I don't have to get in the car.
Where are you at? LA?
LA, yeah.
Okay. Very nice. I'm boiling up in Chicago with like 90-degree temperatures. So.
I know you guys get hit hard.
Ugh, the humidity. I hate it. I'll be the first one to say, I mean, I've been a long time fan of your work, so this is cool. But when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, okay, this is too much Lifetime. There's no way this could all happen. And then I see the end credits and I'm like, okay, he met a kid in a diner with a one arm, with missing one arm. And invites him to the fight. It was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, honestly, that this is all, I didn't really know the story of Nick, but it's a storybook. Like it's one of those things you'd never imagine. You just think it's literally a movie. And it's all real. Wow, I was blown away by it. What initially kind of drew you to when you heard the story? Did you have the same kind of feeling like, oh, this is too much of a movie, script or something? This can't be all real.
I think for a lot of men who love sports, or women who love sports, they might think this is impossible because, he had a physical disability and he became a champion and so forth. But I think for me, what really rung true for me is the sort of universal story of if not me, then who, and don't tell me my worth, and I can do this. And then having those few people in your life that encourage you to believe that anything is possible, any dream is reachable, and there's no obstacle, only what's in your mind. The obstacles out in front of you, are surmountable, all of that. So I think that I found this film to be, hopefully what I feel it to be, is inspiring for everybody. It's an everyman story. I mean, the circumstances are extraordinary, but in all of our small ways, we're battling our own inner battle and trying to overcome our obstacles to thrive in our own lives. So I look at the Nick Newell story, true story, like you said, as an inspiration for all of us. I actually really think right now we all could use some inspiration. The world has been pretty divided, and it's just incredible to see something about a human being that's true and real, that existed, and a mom and a family, that the human spirit, prevailed, and our love of life and ourselves, our ability to do anything, prevailed.
No question. Did you get a chance to meet Nick Newell's mom in person, or Nick himself at least, during filming of this film?
I feel like I did, but it's so long ago that we made this. I was more my availability to create this character based on his mom came from, interviews and, video and things like that. So I had a very strong sense of her. Plus I'm a single mom, and I don't know, somehow I truly could empathize with the father leaving the picture. I mean, not wanting to deal with this child, and the mother feeling like, this is her child is everything to her, and she's going nowhere, and she's going to deal with what's right in front of her to the best of her abilities. She doesn't see his disability. She sees what's extraordinary about him.
And how selfless she was. That totally stands out too. That's really a mother's love right there. And you mentioned kind of your own, connection to that character. Tell me, did you have any moments during this film that it really kind of, you had flashbacks to your own experience, or, like, because it's a unique thing, being a mom, a single mom, people can certainly relate to that, but it's individually, it's unique, to each person. What was that like for you, trying to bring in the character?
I think everybody wishes they had a mom like Nick Newell.
Yes, very much so.
Because she says, in spite of everything in front of you, go for it. And that's to the risk of his own body or health or well-being. But she believes in him and she knows that he can do it. But I think there's some other themes that are so important right now, just in a world where diversity and inclusion and, are topics of our time. This is a story of inclusion. I'm also involved with Special Olympics, so I think it's important to talk about people with intellectual disabilities or physical disabilities like Nick, not letting the world stand in its way or the definition of who he should be in the world because of his physical disability. And thankfully, he had a mom who didn't see his limitations, and I'd like to see a world where people look at people who have seemingly limitations as limitless and full of possibility, because that's how we all want to be seen. Sometimes we feel like our parents put their fears of the world upon us, but she put her fearlessness of the world upon him. And I think that lit a fire underneath him. So I think she's like, the kind of mom we all wish we had.
No question. I think it's really well put, the way you put it there. What was the cast to work like? You didn't have the biggest cast, so it's pretty intimate. You get to work with Cody a lot in the film. But what was that experience like, having kind of a smaller cast and more intimate in that essence? How did you guys kind of bond together and form this relationship that we see is really strong on screen?
It's been really fun to see Cody Christian's career explode since we made this movie. And I hope this movie helps him explode even more. I think he's a movie star. And I say that not lightly or flippantly. He's a movie star because he approaches his roles with dedication, fearlessness, and passion. And that's, really what we bonded on. We met, we had to play mother and son, and we just dove into this intimacy with each other. And I'm still in touch with him. I respect him so much. And now that I'm directing, I can't imagine having an actor I'd love to direct more than him. He's such a beautiful spirit and he's so talented. And you can see really the range and the depth of his ability in this role. So we just were like, go big or go home. This is not just a little independent film. We're going to make this meaningful, and we're going to make this the best movie we've ever done. And I hope that we did. I hope people love it, especially him.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the directing. I'm curious. I didn't notice that you're starting up. What kind of prompted you go in that direction? And has this been something you've always wanted to do and try?
Yeah, I think much like the topic of inclusion and Notorious Nick, if you don't see yourself in the conversation, you don't think of yourself being in that world. And growing up as an actor, I never really saw many female directors, if any, really, in my career.
Yeah. And
so I think it just took me time and the world changing, and certain executives like Tanya Lopez, who has the Broader Focus program at Lifetime, to give me that opportunity. I had pursued it. I was ready. And she met me with my readiness and my preparation and gave me the opportunity. So that's a perfect storm. And it's nice to see all of the studios really getting behind Lionsgate, all of the other studios that I'm working with really getting behind women and making that room for us. So yeah, now I've directed 2 films during COVID, and I'm about to direct another movie in the new year. So yeah, I'm not acting. It's just I've really loved directing as well.
I was just gonna tell you, you better stay on screen too. Don't get too carried away with just the directing part. But that's really cool that you're trying now both sides, and being an actress for a long time, you have that experience of what it's like to work with an actor. Now you can use behind the camera, which is really a unique kind of asset to have, being able to relate to the actor, by being on their side, basically.
Absolutely. Exactly. I'm on their side. That is exactly right. Well quoted.
You can use it. I'm curious. I always like kind of asking this question. What are some of your hobbies and interests you like to do in your everyday life when you're off set, now when you're not directing or acting? What are some things you like to get away to and just enjoy?
Well, I mean, one thing I'm working on a lot right now is a company that I've created called the Respect Project. And I started it about a year and a half ago, curating conversations with diverse panelists on the essential topics of our time. So inviting intentionally people who are different colors, different, different backgrounds, different genders, different careers, putting them together and punting a topic based on the, foundation of respect. The world is so divided. And I think what I've learned in my own personal relationships is when we try not to, to be the same, but we can listen to each other with respect, we can solve, most of our problems. So that type of listening and communication is what the Respect Project's about. So I work on that a lot recently, and especially during COVID. So if you want to check it out, it's www.therespectproject.org. And I mean, for fun, I'm a road tripper. I just came back from Cambria, where I just jumped in the car with my son and took a trip. And
Oh, nice.
And then I love to bike. I'm a big cyclist. And it was fun watching the Olympics and seeing the female cyclists because they don't actually have a Tour de France. They only have the Olympics. So it's fun to see the best out there. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm really, just working a lot this summer and trying to figure out what's next to direct.
Wow. I was just going to kind of ask you, because I'm like, you just turned 29. So where's that fountain of youth? How do you get it, to stay ageless, basically, and that's the key, I guess.
I'm glad we're having this conversation face to face so I can tell you I appreciate that. I appreciate that compliment.
I noticed in a movie, Nick's character ages, he becomes into a young man, but you don't. And I'm like, that's actually fitting. I'm glad I didn't put on any makeup or to change your look because you haven't aged in years too. So I'm like very realistically done.
That's very good. I like it. It's a useful quality. I don't know that it's entirely true, but I appreciate the compliment.
I've been watching you over the years. I haven't noticed a difference at all. So that's a great thing.
So that my filter on my Zoom lens is working perfectly.
Absolutely. You should sell that and make a lot of money if that's the case.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. It's nice actually kind of becoming more of a veteran. I think that's the fun part about directing or even acting, with Cody, because I really could be his mom, literally. And that was fun because I have, all my experience. He has all his, his passion and excitement. And together we just fed off each other. And I really hope that we portrayed a mother-son relationship that was really real and that you could feel it. Because that really was the true story, that he had all these obstacles and she said she didn't see any obstacles. Like, you don't give up on yourself. She had to overcome her fear that he would get his ass kicked.
Right. Yeah. No mother wants to send a kid to MMA. That's one thing for sure, have cauliflower ears and be beat up and bruised up. So that takes a special individual, to really be selfless and let the child live out its dream. And yeah, you guys totally nailed it in that aspect. I thought it was a really sincere relationship, and you kind of you appreciate your own relationship. That kind of made me think of me and my mom, our close relationship. So that was really cool. I hope a lot of people get to watch this and get a sense of their own relationship with their parents. So you guys portrayed it well.
And I hope people see it and they do a little digging about Nick Newell and they learn more about him and this real true story that inspired Notorious Nick, and that if they feel any limitations in their life or any isolation or anything that makes them feel different, like they're not worthy, that they're inspired. This is a story to tell everybody that they have value and that there's nothing that they can't do. So I hope that is the story, that is the message that this film carries for people.
No question. Well, you're
And
doing great things.
There's some badass action sequences.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there is. There's some. If you're a fan of MMA like I am, there's some legitimate, authentic moves in that movie too. And Cody, I was blown away how that dude looks like he could be an MMA fighter based on the shape he's in. So that's commitment right there to the work and looking the part too.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a pro. I expect big, more big things from him. So
fantastic. Same thing for you, Elisabeth, now with the directing thing. So excited to see. Before I let you go, any idea when we see the first film released? The
first film is released. It's called Girl in the Basement. You can look it on Amazon. You can see it everywhere. It's on all the streamers. And the second film comes out in October called Switched Before Birth. And this movie comes out August 6th on all the platforms. And I think it's on DVD August 17th.
There you go. Well said. Well, this was a blast to get to finally talk to you. Like I said, I've been a longtime fan, and you're super awesome too. So
thank you.
Continued success. Don't age a day next time I talk to you. And keep on doing the great work. And really cool to hear how you're doing outside of the acting realm. A lot of great things for society. So keep that up too. No question. I'll put out the website so people can totally check it out, and I will myself.
Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting us. I appreciate it. It's super nice to meet you.
Absolutely, Elisabeth. Talk soon then.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.